So hello everyone, welcome back to my booktube. If you love everything romance and romance books, then don't forget to subscribe and let's get into the video. I thought that I would do a little bit of a reading vlog because I absolutely love watching these on YouTube and it's so calming to watch. So I thought I'd do the same thing. Now I've just finished getting myself dressed because I'm actually going to go out, but I'm going to go and find somewhere where I can sit in the car and read because I love doing that. So I'm going to go and find somewhere quiet to read and I'll show you what I get reading. So I've just pulled up to where I thought, you know what, it's going to be nice and quiet up here and there's no like parking restrictions or anything, and oh my god, it is definitely quiet. Like there's a few cars going up and down, the car park is practically empty and all you can hear is the trees rustling at the side of me and a few cars on the main road which is at the back of it, which is just, oh my god, why have I never done this? Why have I never done it? It is a really nice day as well, and it's to say it's the first couple of days in October I was chucking it down. It's now mild for October. Like what on earth is going on? And I've got this big jumper on, I'm absolutely sweating. But anyway, so the book that I am currently reading is called Soulmates by Holly Bourne. I've not heard anybody talking about this book, but I made a mistake the other day to accidentally come across a review and I listened to it and apparently it's not got a happy ending and I'm like, but we're gonna see, it's so annoying. So I've not heard anything about this book and I actually picked it up at the charity shop like ages ago for £1 and I thought, oh, that sounds good, let's have a go. Let me tell you, the first couple of chapters I read this, I wanted to kill one of the characters in it. So she's not a main character, but she's like in the sidelines, if you know what I mean. And I wanted to put my hand in the book and strangle her because I thought the way she's going on, she's disgusting. She disgusts me. So this is about a girl that has panic attacks. So when she has these panic attacks, she seems to black out and she can't remember anything, and then obviously gets up and, you know, just gets back on with herself, if that makes sense. But she's like, she's in a state where she doesn't really know why it keeps happening, and the doctors have just put it down to panic attacks, but that's the only way that she's known, and then she has to go to therapy and stuff. So one day her mates are like, come on, let's go to the pub for a drink. Bearing in mind they are college age and they're 17, so they're underage anyway, and they're randomly going to a pub. But anyway, that's beside the point. I know it's a story, it's made up. So they go to the pub and it's called band night that's happening. So she goes to watch this band with her friends, right? And this one friend called Ruth is throwing herself at this band member because he's supposed to be fit and he's supposed to be really nice and he's the guitarist. So she's like throwing herself all at the front stage and be like, oh, showing her boobs and everything because she's got double D's, and she's like throwing herself at him. Anyway, at the end of the night, one of the amps blow up accidentally and ends up stopping the whole band night going off. So they come off stage and she ends up going with the main guitarist, which is called Noah. So she brings him back to introduce him to her friends and says, oh, this is Noah, blah blah blah. And then because Poppy, which is one of the main characters, Poppy who has the blackouts and stuff, she introduces her to her and basically takes the piss at the fact that she's just had a blackout and she had to leave the gig and then come back again. So she took the piss and she basically said like, oh, she loved your band so much that she actually passed out, you know, and etc etc. So she took the piss out of it, and that Noah sort of like went laughed, but it was more of a nervous laugh, whereas Poppy's like, what the fuck, why did she take the piss out of me? So she snaps back at him and she snaps back at her and she says, look, don't try and make it as a pulling mechanism to try and get lads to say that I blacked out over a, you know, over a band or whatever, and stop trying to use my illness for your sake of getting with someone. And then after a bit she walks off because she's absolutely fuming, and she shouts back, she's like, oh yeah, by the way, she's had chlamydia 3 times. So then this Ruth is absolutely fuming at her because she's let out this secret. Bearing in mind she just took the piss out of her because she's had blackouts and she's got panic attacks, right? And she's going, oh, I'm not talking to you now, I can't believe it, I'm absolutely fuming with you, why would you do that? And she's like, what the fuck? And in the end she ends up apologising to her. So Poppy ends up apologising to Ruth, like, come on, I just want to be your friends again, let's just go back together. I would have not done that. I would have fucking murdered her. I would have been like, no, you're not taking the piss out of me, I am not doing that. And this Ruth character comes across very like, oh, I want everybody to do what I want them to do, but nobody can take the piss out of me and I'm the best and blah blah. This is what I fucking hate in a person. I'm like, no, it grinds my gears. So yeah. But then after a bit she sort of gets pushed out of the story, and it goes on to Noah and Poppy and how they meet and how they get together. And obviously I'm only halfway through, which is, say only halfway through. I've been reading this in the past couple of days and I'm literally whizzing through it, which is a big fucking surprise for me. And they've actually started to get together, but these strange things keep happening, like the skies automatically go cloudy and like all of a sudden there's floods and there's lightning and there's thunder and it's all this really like strange going ons, and they're like, what on earth's going on? But I have a feeling it's got to do with them two and they're not meant to be together, and I think that's what it is, because then in a few other chapters that are like part of other ones, so it's like chapter 2.2, do you know what I mean, that sort of thing, it then goes back to these two people that are in this lab and they can see these soulmates getting together, and they're like, no, it needs to stop now. So I'm thinking, is it something to do with them or not? And I feel like it is, but obviously I'm only halfway through. But I made the mistake of reading a review and apparently it's not a happy ending, which is like, oh, great. So yeah, I'm not 100% with it, but it's not a bad story. Like some of the bits in it I'm like, oh, of course that's gonna happen, of course he's gonna do that, of course he's gonna do that. So yeah, it's a bit of a bad boy as it comes along, but then all of a sudden it dwindles and he's like, oh my god, you're the one for me. Like, we've been on 3 dates and you're already saying I love you, which is a big ick for me. I don't like that in a book, but anyway, there's 17. So yeah, we're gonna read this and I'm gonna probably react throughout the book, because I know that I've been doing it every time I've done it. Every time I've read it, I've been like, oh my god, what the fuck are I doing that for? So yeah, anyway, I'm gonna keep reading this and I'll tell you my thoughts on it. Yeah, I'm gonna give myself probably about an hour just to sit and read, and yeah, we'll get on with this book, shall we? What is it with these names of these bands? Growing Pains and Pony Boys. Some of this shit in this book is so cringe. Right. I thought I'd put it down for a minute because I just wanted to talk about it. So I'm currently on chapter 27. I don't even know what chapter I started on, like 2018 I think I started on. Now I'm on 27, so I read near enough 10 chapters. So the extra part to the chapters, so there's like a chapter, say 5.2 or 5.3 or 6.2, you know, it's like an extra bit to some of the chapters. Now they have responsibility of what's happening with the weather. I don't know what the story is behind it, but it's something to do with soulmates. So I have just read a bit where they've just gone to the ballet, and he's obviously really rich. He has a rich mum and dad that don't want to know him and just sort of like gives him money because they're multi-millionaires and just gets him to do whatever because of his episodes that he's had. So they just sort of like ignore him, but they are giving him money to sort of do whatever he wants with it, right? So they've just been to the ballet in London, and they've been to the Theatre Royal or whatever it's called, not Theatre Royal, but you know what I mean, that sort of thing, and they've watched them. Now bearing in mind, before they've gone in, it's not snowed or anything like that. It's been a bit cloudy, but it's not nothing major, right? By the time they've come out, so bearing in mind it's probably only a couple of hours, isn't it? It is lagged it down with snow, and it's so thick that she can't get home, right? So he's ended up booking a hotel room, and obviously with mummy and daddy's money, he's got a really nice suite that's like a 5-star one, right? So they've done that. The weather now is based on these other two people that's part of this story, but like every so often. So I think with the attraction of the soulmates, so I'm gathering the soulmates are Noah and Poppy, and they obviously don't want them to get together, and it causes catastrophe. So scientifically they're doing something to cause all these weather things happening around them, but obviously they're escaping it every time. And now an accident's just happened on the motorway and people have died from it, but obviously it's not been them because they're in a hotel room. They're basically above the gods in this hotel room and they are safe. And in this extra chapter, there's these two people that are arguing, basically, you know this is going to happen, now you've killed people, you need to stop. But I don't understand the importance of this bit yet, because it's only every so often that these chapters come about, and there's obviously something that's going off, but I'm not quite finished yet. So I'm intrigued to see what happens at the end and to see how that comes into play. But for now, it's a bit fucked up. They're very loved up, they're very like puppy love, you know, they're 17, they're still young, very young to be in love. And yeah, so it's been a good hour since I've sat here and read, or even longer actually, to be fair. And I'm just going to give myself a bit of a break, have a bit of a drink. Got some work to do, so I'm going to sit and do that before I start reading again. And then I'm going to go back home, get something to eat, and then I'll probably pick it up again later on tonight. So as you can see, I'm back home now and I've had some dinner and stuff. It is around about 6:30, so it is a couple of hours since I last filmed in the car. But I've now got my little snuddy on because it's getting a bit chilly. And I thought that I would pick up my book again and read for about an hour before I get ready to go in the bath. This story, oh my god, it's taken a long time to build to a point, because I've now finished for the night and then I'm gonna go and sort myself out and stuff, but 31 chapters in and I still don't understand what the fuck is going on. Because clearly they're soulmates, something's gonna happen, but I'm like, I've got 9 chapters left of this story. Do you know, if it gets left on a cliffhanger, I'm going to be fuming. Or it's going to be a build up for absolutely nothing. I'm going to be fuming. Droning on a bit now. It's getting a bit drony and it needs something to spice it up a bit. I feel like they're together now. They're, you know, having a great time. Obviously something is going to happen, but it's just taking a bit of time. I'm not going to finish. I'm going to go in the bath and I will update you when I eventually finish it, which is more than likely tonight. So I'll probably update you tomorrow when I finished it. So I've just finished reading this book. It is quite a lot later than when I actually finished it because I completely forgot to end it. I did only give this book 2.5 stars because it just wasn't it. So I have written in my digital reading journal of what I thought about it. So here we go. Well, what can I say? Very anticlimactic. This book began to drag in the halfway point. So halfway through the book, it was just drony and it was just dragging and it was like, oh, come on, come on. Very anticlimactic, up and up and up and up. And then towards the end it was like, it was pointless. You knew something was going to happen but you didn't know what, but it kept droning in the middle. That was my point. But it was very unnecessary. There was no point in it. It was kind of sad at the end, which it isn't a happy ending. I did put what happens in this review, but obviously I'm not going to say it if you want to read it. It is a sad ending to it, which is not always the best for me. I like a happy ending, but again, not all books are going to be like that. So it did give me a bit of a life reason as to the soulmate thing. So I believe in soulmates and I believe that everybody has someone out there for them, and this book kind of gives that. So you may love and cherish somebody for a long time and you may think this is the right thing for you, but then in the end it might not be the right thing and you might need to go a different path. And I feel like even though they were soulmates and they were meant for each other, it wasn't always the right thing because of what was happening around them. So I feel like that's in real life as well. I mean, I've never met my soulmate or anything like that, and I've never experienced that. But again, at the time you think that it's the right thing, but then further on down the line, once all is said and done, you actually realise, actually that wasn't meant for me and that was the reason why. But it is kind of depressing as well to think about, because you think whether it gave me a reason to think whether soulmates were real or not. And as much as I believe in that sort of thing, I was like, I sort of sat at the end of the bed after finishing it and I was like, do I actually believe now? Do I actually believe in this soulmate sort of thing or not? Because this is what makes me think twice, which was that book. And I was like, right, I don't want to read that book again because it's really making me doubt myself. So, and it also made me think about the choices that I made in my own love life, which was like, for what the fuck? It was quite deep at the end, in the sense of you're sort of reflecting on your own feelings as a person rather than from a book. So in one way, it kind of gave you a good reason as to think about what happens in your life and whether it's the right thing to do. But also in another way, it was sad at the end. It was sad at the end. But yeah, that's my review of the Soulmates. I also put my favourite part. So on this bit it says your favourite parts and your notes and stuff. So my favourite part was when Poppy stands up to Ruth. Now Ruth, I have mentioned in this vlog before that she was horrible. She wasn't a friend. She was sort of like, I want all the attention on me. It's all about me, not about you. Something happens to Poppy and Ruth takes a piss basically, and then Poppy snaps at her, stands up for herself and takes a piss out of her. However, she doesn't like it. She's like, oh, why are you doing that to me? Yeah, she can take the piss out of her, but she stands up for herself and calls her a bitch basically and says, you know, don't use this as a pulling mechanism and take the piss out of me because it's not fair. And I like that bit. That was the bit that I liked, because I thought she was going to be a bit of a pushover, but she wasn't. She actually stood up for herself. So I was, go on, Poppy. Also, the fact that she gets with Noah and not Ruth, because Ruth initially was wanting Noah, but she didn't get him, and it was Poppy, and she got a bit jealous, I think, and I feel like Poppy got the man and she didn't, and that was a good thing. So yeah, and then I also thought about Ruth. Ruth was a fucking bitch, and I would not allow her, I would not have called her a friend at all. I wanted to strangle the shit out of her, which I also said as well. I wanted to fucking murder her. I wanted to kill her. I would have not. That is not a friend. The way that that is describing it, that is not a friend, and I would have not even attempted to go back into that situation. So that was what was annoying me about the situation. But yeah, and would I recommend this book? No, I fucking would not. That's the end of the reading vlog of Soulmates. I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. If you want me to do any more reading vlogs with certain stories, then let me know, and I shall see you in my next one. Bye.